thank you for sharing with us, where you're coming from today and what you're, kind of bringing into this moment. So just wanted to know a little, are you interested in expanding upon and magnifying your dreams and vision in a greater way? And if you are, just pop a yes in the chat if this is something that's been on your mind or calling to you. Yes, 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 seeing yeses. That's awesome. So I'm really happy that you are here to join me today because this is my passion and my mission, and I want to make sure that we are truly creating a space that is supportive and a safe haven for you in the rest of this hour that you're taking time away. And we are really here to just grow and love on each other. And the best way that we can make that happen is to just release any pressures and stress that may have impacted us, earlier today. So if you have your tea, that's awesome. If you have an oil, I brought my oils today, roll some on. And I want to do a little exercise with you, a little heart-centered breathing. I am actually currently going through a certification with the Heart Math Institute. If you've heard of them, they provide leadership and connection to our hearts. And our brains send signals through the rest of our body. And when we go through a stressor, then it, can potentially, those emotions that come up, experience through the rest of our bodies. And our hearts have the ability to communicate with our brain. So it's a very simple exercise where you really just focus on your heart, take some deep breaths, and really think about what your intentions are for today. What is your heart telling you? And as you're breathing in, really focusing more into your heart, just allow for yourself to come into this moment. And this is something that you can do anytime. It's not a meditation, so I don't tell you to close your eyes because you can do it anytime you're driving, if you're in a meeting, or you're just feeling any little bit of anxiety. So this is called heart-centered breathing. And there is science behind it that backs, how our hearts communicate to the rest of our bodies. So just if we can all just support one another, could you put an agree in the chat if you're ready to move forward and provide this space for all of us who are here today. Okay. Wonderful. I agree. Yes. Awesome. So I want us to think about what brought us here today. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start sharing my screen with you. 1 second. There we go. Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. All right. So yes, awaken the visionary within, and that is what we're going to be covering today. And I want you to think about what it is that you would like to take out of today. What's one word that you would like to either walk away with or have some greater insight or would like to glean from being here today with us? And if you're not sure the word yet, that's okay. I see clarity. Clarity is a really good one. Productivity. Okay. Building. Okay. Thank you for sharing. So yes, we're going to discuss clarity around stepping into our purpose and some mental tools, one of which is heart breathing, heart-centered breathing, so that you can help to reframe some of your narrative, and then techniques that you can use to kind of reclaim or claim your essence and the value that you bring into your work. And when I use the word work right now, because some of us are coming from corporate backgrounds to entrepreneurial backgrounds and creative backgrounds, we're just going to use the word work, but that could mean anything for you and the things that you're putting into this world. And then ways that you can grow your vision and tap into a higher calling and up leveling that. I love that. Happiness. Okay. So a bit about me. This is the boring part. This is the part where I tell you that I am an executive vision coach and strategist. I have studied brand strategy, executive coaching, leadership, transformation coaching. I'm a certified coach through the ICF and have been working with Fortune 500 e-commerce and Fortune 1000 companies in coaching. My background is in IT, working as an engineering manager and in design and leading teams. So I've worked with a broad group of people. I've worked with everyone from corporate leaders to transitioning military operatives, entrepreneurs, and then creative types, artists who are looking to expand on their creativity. What am I really here for? I'm here because I'm passionate about helping other women to explore and create a life that is fulfilling and meaningful and draws upon something that we know like innately within us, that inner calling or inner purpose. And I want to ask you the same question, why are you really here? What are you really hoping? You put some words in there, but when you think about what you would like to create for your life, ask yourself, why am I really here? Okay. So I really used to struggle with knowing how to allow for my dreams to kind of start to unfold in my life. And I held them really close to me as though they were almost like a dark secret. And I was so afraid to let them out that might mean that they wouldn't actually come into fruition. Has anyone ever felt that way before, where you're afraid to actually speak out those kind of dear thoughts and dreams that we hold within us because magically it might just go away? Or maybe some judgment will occur from someone who's close to us who doesn't really get it or understand that side of us. I do feel that we all have a purpose, but not everyone is really tapping into that sometimes. So in my career, I was doing well. I was starting to become successful, but I also really felt that little calling that I had inside of me. It never really went away. And I didn't feel like I was fulfilling my purpose in engineering. Sitting behind a computer, helping other corporate companies make money. It was, I was climbing that ladder, but it wasn't fulfilling to me. And I didn't fully understand why until I started doing some of my own deep inner work through coaching and spiritual awakenings and different things that I started to explore and go through. And at that time, it really was pivotal in even my personal relationships that I had with my husband and my family. So when we start to think about our purpose, understand that these things are not an accident. They are there by design, and so are you. And so sometimes how we use even our own experiences can help to dictate our outcome. And so I had this kind of epiphany that I wasn't really getting any younger, and I didn't really want what I was currently doing to be my legacy. And it felt incredibly discouraging and heartbreaking to think that this was really it. And by other standards, maybe I was doing very well, but it didn't feel significant for me. So, how many of you felt that? Let me know in the chat. Have you ever felt that before? All right. Yes, yes, yes. So when yeah, you were afraid to take a risk. You were. I'm gonna talk about that. You are my person I'm speaking on later. Once I started to think about how I wanted to shape my life, it started to go from just an inner voice to an inner fire. And I really had to start moving on it because it started to feel like time was going faster for me. It was actually speeding up. I remember when I was younger, it felt like time moved slowly and I had all the time in the world. And then after getting married or having my son, it started to go on some amazing bullet train fast track that I just couldn't keep up with. And so it became apparent that I needed to start working towards my goals, now. And I didn't even know exactly what they looked like. I just started kind of fumbling my way around and finding a path. So there's something more than just dreaming about what we want to do. It's the taking of the action piece that we have to go through. So I also feel like when we went through the pandemic, it actually forced us to slow down a little bit, just enough for us to notice that we had really been kind of rushing through our lives. Maybe some of us even blind to what we were doing day in and day out and how we weren't maybe getting anywhere when it came to our inner meaning, our inner purpose, our higher calling, and fulfilling that. And so now that we're kind of coming, let's say I think we're coming out of it or kind of moving through it, or maybe we're just used to it. I'm not sure what you want to call it now. A couple of years of this. I experienced this vortex of time where even though I was actively working towards some of my dreams, there still feels like 2 years that have been lost to a certain extent. 2 years that I can't get back from my son, that I feel like he just kind of grew before my eyes. 2 years that things were just really in limbo. And so in some ways, it feels like we're almost playing catch up with our lives. Does that resonate with you at all? Anyone else experience that? Yeah. It's really bizarre. It's hard to put words into. And so that's why this time, this discussion is really good for right now, because there's really no time like the present to start paying attention. So I want you to think, what is your vision? Or do you have one? Are you aware of what that is? So we're going to move into covering, which is in the workbook as well, 5 keys that I mentioned to really awakening this inner vision with you and how you can start growing it. And so those 5 keys we'll be covering is identifying your big purpose, reframing your inner narrative, claiming your essence, growing your vision, and really taking actions to up-level it. So I just want to think for a second. Are you ready to move forward? Okay. Who here is a leader? Raise your hands. Okay. I want you to all raise your hands because you are all leaders. Okay. You are all leaders in your life. You're all here to learn and expand and to grow yourselves. And that is the true essence of what is a leader, someone who is continually learning, growing, and challenging themselves in a greater way. So any capacity that you might be involved, whether it's in your work, your business, any daily life, you are a leader. And I want you to remember that. Okay. So identifying your big purpose. So let's gain some clarity. Who is familiar with Simon Sinek? Are you familiar with him? Yeah, he has given some amazing TED Talks. I encourage you to listen to some of them. Notably, he has given one on the Golden Circle, which is about growing and sustaining a company's culture. And he's really driven home this idea of your big why. And that has then started this movement into what is our big why. So it started with company culture and having a company-driven mission. But it's really come into what I see the entrepreneurial space where we're all trying to understand, what is my big why? Why am I here? What is my purpose here on this earth? What am I trying to create, grow, and do? And so why did he make this point about having a why when it came to corporations? Because he knew that the heart of any successful company is its purpose. And when a company has a mission, a purpose that everyone can get behind, then everyone in that corporation has a guiding light. It's a single unifier for the rest of the daily operations that occur. So how do you grow and keep morale in an organization when it's facing challenges? There's internal and external challenges. So the companies and its founders have to get really clear on their mission and driving that through the rest of the organizations. So likewise, people need a purpose. We need to know why we are doing something. It's even more evident as a result of the pandemic that we spoke of. Did you notice that companies started to change their advertising to get to the heart of their message? We were living in uncertainty and we were buying with our core values and our beliefs. So what are you buying into about yourself? Are you buying into fears or worries or frustrations? And how are those impacting your decision-making process when it comes to pursuing your higher goals, your next level vision? And have you given it much thought? Every day you have the ability to act upon your purpose. It isn't this far off dream. What you cultivate every day in your life is your reality. So I want you to think on that for a second. What are you really cultivating for yourself every day? So in the universal law, they talk about things that are universal laws, right? And so one of those is what we focus on expands. And our thoughts determine our actions, which then determine our choices. So are we making a conscious choice to pursue and focus on our dreams for our lives? Are we thinking about what we would like to create, what the next step is? What are we moving towards? And what are we telling ourselves every single day? So really getting clear on your purpose and what you want to cultivate in your life is really key to that awakening inside of you of growing to that next level within your vision. And you can start at any time. And the beautiful thing is it can change. Mine has grown and evolved organically as I have grown and evolved. So that comes to key number 2, which is to reframe your narrative. So we have to recondition our thoughts and our thought patterns to start saying yes to ourselves and yes to our dreams. Our brains tend to focus on negativity. And if you've studied the brain a little bit, you'll know that our reptilian brain has been trying to protect us for, thousands of years in the sense of fire and danger and tigers and all of these things. And so when we go through worry or stress, sometimes we can trigger that reptilian brain to start putting us into a stress response. So when we work on reframing our mind and reframing our narrative, it's really key that we think about where we're coming from our heart, because our reptilian brain doesn't need to protect us in this moment. And we can start thinking about what we can move towards and any thought patterns that might be impacting our decision-making strategies. Sometimes even negativity can be almost addictive, where we've become the victim because it is familiar. And then we start continually focusing into this like spiral of what isn't going quite right for us, putting our energy into all of that, and even allowing for it to become our excuse. So when I asked, when I'm thinking about this, what is your biggest struggle with pursuing your dreams? And I want you to think on that answer. And then I want you to think on, from a scale of 1 to 10, on this big struggle that you have, is it really a 10? Is it like climbing Mount Everest 10? Or is it something maybe smaller? Is it something that you really truly could overcome? Is there anything that you cannot absolutely overcome? So changing your focus, start focusing less on the issues that come in, and then start focusing more on the things that you actually are wanting to do and create. And every time that something starts to creep in, I want you to make a mental note of it. Notice when you feel irritated or frustrated or angry. And really ask yourself, just take a moment and pause and ask yourself, why is this bothering me? How is it impacting me? Is it impacting my choices and abilities to move forward? How is it impacting my relationships? And how can I potentially better handle this situation or best handle it? When we aren't focusing on our higher calling, I'm not sure if you've noticed this, little things can bug us. Little things become bigger because our focus isn't on the bigger thing that we should be really putting our attention. So the little things start to mount and they grow. So thinking about that, how can you reframe some of those narratives in our minds? Our inner soul isn't experiencing joy when it's not being focused in a way that's something greater than our current situation and greater than ourselves. And our vision isn't only about us. It's about what we are here to accomplish. Okay, so what thought patterns are coming up? What causes a draining emotion? And then what causes an inspiring emotion? So next, claiming your essence. Some of you might be wondering, though, how do you know what your purpose is? Maybe you feel this inner knowing, but you aren't sure what to do. And claiming your essence is about knowing your inner worth, what you bring to the world, and how you are uniquely positioned to deliver it. And then once you truly claim your gifts, talents, strengths without fear, there will be no holding you back. And the secret is, it isn't about you. You bring value to the world whether you realize it or not. Claiming it is really just about having a deeper understanding of what you bring. So there's a difference. Our purpose isn't selfish. Regardless of what society has sometimes driven into us, or when we're little children, our wants and needs are usually driven by a higher calling. So there's really no room for humility or fear when it comes to our purpose, because you're just blocking yourself from shining, from being who you are intended to be anyways. And I guarantee that comes out in different ways without you knowing it. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to ask yourself from a place of service, when are you in service to others? And thinking about your skill sets. And you can use your heart-centered breathing as I ask this. So number one, think about, and if you want in your workbook, list out 3 things that you are good at. It can be anything. They don't have to be related to your job, but maybe you're good at facilitating discussions or helping children navigate their emotions or taking charge of a situation. Maybe helping people come through a crisis or some trauma. And then list 3 things that you are really passionate about in this world. Something that sparks a deeper value point or interest. Could be very specific, like helping, rescue horses, or something vague like lifting up other women who need support. And then the third question is, list out 3 things you've always felt curious about doing or pursuing. This could be related to a dream, like writing a book, speaking on a TEDx stage, or teaching an art class. Does one or more of the things, well, wait, sorry. I'll give you a little time. Let's pop a yes in the chat if you're ready to move forward. That way I know. Okay, great. Okay, good. So, did any one of those things you listed speak to you in a deeper way? And if there's anything you listed that feels scary, think about why that is. Did you question whether you should even write it down? And are there any overlapping ideas or concepts that are coming up for you? In there is that deeper calling, your essence. And if you're unsure of where to start looking, there are ways that you can start looking at your experiences, looking at your strengths and talents, and trying to draw from those, even in your, daily life. And just start thinking about, what do I do well? Well, what do others think that I do well? And that's a really tough one for me. I always struggle with knowing what other people think I do well because I only have my own perspective. So this really leads to the next 2, which is 4 and 5, really. Something is going on. I think my slides messed up, but I can send them out fixed, and if you're curious. There we go. Looked odd last time. Scale your vision. Okay. When you grow your vision, you need to tap into your higher calling. The issue we often face when desiring to create a meaningful life is we do not create a vision that is big enough to match our higher purpose. So it's okay if you don't fully know your purpose and our vision, and we start to think about it. That will start to unfold as you continue to do this inner work, because the 2 really play off of each other. Your purpose is the driver to the action. So I want to do a little exercise. I want you to think about how you can, grow potentially your vision. So as an example, you might feel it important to lift up, other women leaders who've gone through maybe similar struggles, or those who are not sure how to go to the next level. Perhaps on a deeper level, You would like to uplift oppressed women by helping them get into leadership positions, or helping women grow in their careers. That might be your purpose. And then thinking on expanding that, how do you actually start to approach that? So on a smaller scale, you might start to think you can reach out. Maybe you start reaching out to other women in your corporation. Maybe you hold a luncheon salon, which is like a very 17th century concept of round table discussions, focusing on leadership and growth within your company or your given career. And that's where you could potentially start. Maybe you start having, smaller meetups or discussions in that way. Can you go bigger? What makes it so large that you start to feel almost unstoppable? Because your vision is so important. Who here would like to be unstoppable? I want you to raise your hands. Yes. Yes. And that's a scary thing to think about. Sometimes we're so humble. Can we think bigger about putting into action a greater vision? Maybe you think about reaching out to local women's organizations and holding talks with women in those organizations. Or maybe even larger, you start speaking at conferences. Or what if you are more focused on working with women who, have experienced trauma? And so you start offering, meetings and programs to help give women leadership counsel and start believing in themselves. Can we go bigger? What if you're so inspired that you decided to start, make a foundation or an institute to help other women in their careers, or establish a nonprofit, or work with investors to bring leadership development into schools or universities or corporations looking to create more, women leaders? Do you see how it can keep getting bigger? Pop a yes in the chat if you can start seeing how maybe even you could grow your vision even bigger. I want you to think about what is so big that it sounds scary and impossible, but it gives you tinges of excitement. Does it feel impossible? Or does it feel probable? Let me know. Yes, I can immediately feel it's impossible, and I can see the potential. Yes. Scholarships for young women entrepreneurs. I love that. It's beautiful too. When we start thinking about how we can be in service to others, it changes our perspective on what our role is in that journey, because it no longer only becomes about us, it becomes bigger than us. And it is then truly leaving a legacy. So when you make your vision bigger than you, it's almost like you can't be stopped because it's that important. And so that leaves us to the fifth, which is creating a strategy. So there is a quote by Vince Lombardi: "Hope is not a strategy." But I like this other one more: "A vision without a strategy remains an illusion." So you have to actually map out this dream, this vision. It can't live inside of your head. It can't live only inside of your heart. You need to create a plan, because that will start putting into action the rest of it. What do you need to do? Where do you need to start? That kind of thing. Because you don't go from 0 to 100. You don't go from 0 to 65 in a second, right? Maybe my card is, I don't know. But that's what the next level is, to actually strategize and think about where you want to head and map it out. Map out the scary, crazy, big dream. Who here has done a vision board? And then did you strategize your vision board? Because that's the next step. And if you have, good for you. So I want you to look back at any barriers that you were answering for yourself earlier and pick out the main ones that you see creating a hurdle to jump over. What do you need to do to address that obstacle? Is there something you can do? For me, I knew I needed to get a certification. People ask me why. Why do you need to have a certification in order to start helping other people? I didn't. It just helped me. It helped me. Are there companies that you can start researching to partner with? Is it making connections with other leaders? Is it putting together those series of lunches and coffee talks and speeches to gain that credibility and visibility? And then think, what is the one simplest thing that I could start on right now, tomorrow? What could I just start working on tomorrow? One of the things that we work on in coaching is you have this big vision and then we get paralyzed in our thoughts. And so then you need to dial it back down and think, okay, and this is the one thing I can do tomorrow. This is the one thing I can do this week. It's a series of small steps that take you somewhere. It's not one giant leap, unless you're on the moon. So, and then think on what tools that you could use for creating your vision. You know, we talked about vision boards, and I have a seasonal vision boarding that I do that I'm going to talk about. Project management tools, journals. There's so many resources out there now for us that we can leverage. So list out all your actions and then prioritize what might come before the other. And then put stars next to the ones or something like that you feel are either most important or the stickiest. Create the largest obstacle for you. And then imagine how long it might take you. What kind of time frames are you looking at and that you feel comfortable with? Not everyone is the same. Sometimes people want to be pushed, but you push them too far, too quick, too fast, and again, they might get frozen. So it has to feel right for you, the timing of it, enough to keep you motivated, where you're not putting it on the back burner like, oh, but if you get overwhelmed or too much, you don't want to just drop it. And then keep reassessing that, keep coming back and saying, okay, and if you don't miss those goals, because I'm the type of person when I miss a goal, then I feel defeated, don't. Get that negativity out of your brain. It isn't serving you. Oh, well, you just move forward. So you push that date back. You're still moving forward. You're still making progress. The date is really, or the timeline is really there as a guide book for you. Do you feel like this process of creating a bigger vision potentially seems more doable? Can you raise your hands or put in the chat? Awesome. So there's a lot of things that you can do on your own. And as a coach, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about ways that I can help to support you as well. And that is what my mission and my purpose is to help support other women. And I have a deeper calling because I didn't follow the straight and narrow path. And I think many women really, truly haven't. But we're told, you kind of follow this path and then you get there. And then to a certain extent that works, right? The college path. I did eventually. But I first had to go through some amazing trauma and some experiences that really helped to shape me as a person. And then I decided to go back to college. And then I graduated at 29. And then I moved into my leadership journey and my career. And some of it I stumbled across and fell into, and other pieces of it I started to actually really devise a plan and cultivate and look into crafting for myself. And that's where coaching came in for me. So I'm excited to share because this is really, really a big passion of mine, and it's new. And I have this coaching and community. But I want to back up for a second. I mentioned I was going to talk about Katie for a minute. So Katie has one of my first clients. And we met early on. I think she helped me even craft this because we've known each other for a really long time. Probably since we were in 5th grade. But Katie is very accomplished. She's one of the only people I know who was an NFL cheerleader 2 times for 2 different teams. And she's the only person I've ever heard of that was an NFL cheerleader after she had given birth to 2 beautiful babies. And she is a fitness coach. She's a dance instructor. She has all these amazing talents. She's done all of these amazing things. And I remember we met, and she was looking into how she could help, kind of grow her fitness coaching and dance coaching, and was getting certifications to help other coaches and helping them succeed. And she was training for them, master trainer for other fitness specialists. And I remember thinking, she could do this herself. She has everything that she needs for this. She's talented, she's smart, she's driven, and most importantly, she cares about helping other women in their fitness and journey goals. And so we started working together. And it was a combination of coaching and strategy. And so that's kind of where I started with my coaching journey myself. So together we both kind of explored this. And at the same time, I started really pushing hard on my own certifications, and we were working together. But now she's actually starting to live that dream for herself. And she has her own business, and she has her own clients, and she has her own virtual studio where she offers classes, and she's her own brand. She's not someone else's master trainer. And she's making it happen for herself, but in a way that she's able to really, truly make an impact, a greater impact on other women's lives through one-on-one coaching and virtual studio. And I'm just so thrilled because I think about it, I think we're all very, very similar. We have these amazing hidden talents, and we still don't even see it sometimes for ourselves at first. We don't see all of the experiences that have come together to cultivate into who we are now, because we're constantly growing and changing. 6th grade, yes. So that's why I'm sharing her story, because I wanted to say that when you start looking and believing in yourself, and when you start working with someone else who can act as your own, motivator and cheer you on, and your cheerleader who's helping to, iron sharpens iron in many respects, that's when we start to really see some growth. And so I started to create this community And you are the first to really hear. I mean, there's a few members in there who've been helping me beta test it, but you are going to hear about this for the first time publicly. So I've created something called the Vision Creators Community, and there's 3 tiers. It has community platform access. It is not a Facebook group. It's an app, and it's online and on your mobile phone. So it's really a way, it's about creating a place where you can come in and focus and do the work. There's weekly meetups that we're working on, virtual co-working events, monthly theme, and then community connections where you can get to know other members of that community and work together. And I've built it in such a way where you can discover people based on interests. So if you have common interests, you can connect and get to know each other, or maybe work together or find ways that you can partner with each other. And that's level 1. And level 1 is free because I want you to succeed. Level 1 is about getting in there, getting to know the community, and starting to figure out your vision. And I will provide some tools and resources in there to help you get going. The next level is the Visionary Society. So it includes everything, of course, within level 1 that's free. And then it's $45 a month. Who here is a Starbucks coffee, Pete's kind of coffee type of person? Do you go out for coffee? I think after the pandemic, we started to realize that that was a waste of money. But for the cup, I remember when I was commuting, I would spend probably around the same amount going to Starbucks. And I think back, I'm like, wow, that was a lot of money just for coffee. But you're going to get a lot more than that. So you have access to all the community events, group coaching calls, exclusive society groups, so exclusive to paid members. There's going to be workshops, there's courses within there. There's a book club, so you'll be a part of the book club call. It'll be a quarterly book club, mostly focused on leadership development, personal growth, creative strategy. There's an opportunity for member spotlight, so we'll highlight different members within the group so that they can shine. Exclusive vision expansion tools. There's things that I have personally created that I will provide for you, and any other types of coaching articles or whatever that I feel is worth sharing. Interest-specific meetups, all can be created within the platform. The next level is a little bit more, it's the Visionary Circle. It's where we have a tighter, smaller, intimate group where we can meet in a roundtable style discussion and really talk about how we up-level our vision and up-level our leadership and go to that next level in a very intimate setting that includes everything else from within the community. And it's about really creating that legacy for your life. So that's within the community platform. Apparently my slides are having some weird issues. Okay, thank you for bearing with me. And so I can put that into the chat as well because it's launching today, which is community@rowanandhazel.com. Thank you. And so if you go there, you will see that there's 2 options. There's the free option that you can join, and then if you later want to upgrade, you can, or you could upgrade right away to the Visionary Society. And I will put that into the chat so that you are aware and if you're interested. Oh, let me go back. So this shows you what the community looks like. It has topics. Whoa, I just moved my screen. Probably you didn't see it, but I did. So there's topics that things will be grouped by. There's an event schedule. There's things that will be based purely around development, growth, mindset, vision, journey, purpose. The book club. There's a getting started course to help you really be successful coming into the community. There's also the next level. So then we have the seasonal vision series, which I have a workshop coming up on September 24th for Autumn Awakening. This is a quarterly vision boarding workshop where we talk about how we grow our vision, but focusing it for every single season, because again, our vision isn't something that you create every year and then look and stare at. It's something that is organic and continues to grow throughout the year or adjust. There's a sister circle, so we can support women and really focus on that extra, support that I think women really need. So in the community, yes, but just a more intimate sister circle that you can come into and have meetings related to that. There's a couple other courses. There's Know Your Worth, which is a 5-day, depending on how you want to go through it, mini course on just tapping into what your own personal worth is. So I just wanted to share a little what that looks like. And then if you're interested on one-on-one, I do offer one-on-one coaching and strategy, both for executive coaching and then brand's vision strategy. So as I said, I do executive coaching with Fortune 1000 companies. My clients are usually leaders within those companies. And then I also offer brand vision strategy as well. So I wanted to just say thank you so much for participating today and joining me. And I appreciate your presence and just being with us. And I wanted to just ask, are there any questions